It's Monday, the 19th of June, 2023. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 big stories in 5 minutes. Let's jump straight into story number 1. There might be talk of much higher interest rates and even a recession, but it seems that isn't stopping the housing market, at least not yet. Auction clearance rates over the weekend were above 70% for the second consecutive week.
And there were nearly 2,000 homes going to auction, which is about double a week earlier, which of course was down due to the King's holiday in many states. Now, CoreLogic's preliminary clearance rate was 72.5%, about the same as a week earlier. There was also anecdotal reports of a spike in the number of bidders. CoreLogic said the Sydney clearance rate was around 74.5%, Melbourne was 73%, and it was the busiest capital city with 863 homes up for sale. Adelaide's clearance rate was almost 68%, Canberra was just over 70%, and Brisbane came in at 66%.
I don't get this, Sean. It seems the rate rises that everyone's talking about just isn't having much of an impact.
Yes, it's a little bit worrying, really. The full impact of the 12 rate rises so far is still to be felt, and some market economists are talking about at least 2 more, and we know house prices have started rising. Now, Westpac Chief Economist Bill Evans, one of the best in the business, he's forecast 2 more rate rises, and late last week also lowered his forecast for economic growth. He believes the economy will grow by just 0.6% this year and 1% next year. He said the key driver of insipid, that's his word, insipid growth, is household consumption. The Reserve Bank, well, it thinks things will be a bit better, but it agrees household spending is the problem. It just seems at odds that the economy is slowing sharply, rates are still rising, yet people are piling into the auction market.
Yeah, a little bit unusual. Story number 2, Sean. Former Liberal, now Independent Senator David Van has thus far refused to quit politics amid accusations of sexual harassment, but will take leave and miss the final week of Parliament before the midwinter break.
Over the weekend, Senator Van quit the Liberal Party, having been kicked out of the party room last week. It follows allegations of sexual harassment by Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe under parliamentary privilege on Wednesday, which Van strenuously denies. Those claims were followed by former Liberal National Party Senator Amanda Stoker claiming Van had squeezed her bottom. Opposition leader Peter Dutton said he is also aware of a third complaint against Van from a woman who has not come forward. Dutton said Van should resign from the parliament sooner rather than later and seek the help that he needs. The call to quit was backed by a bunch of senior Liberals, Simon Birmingham, Maurice Payne, Anne Ruston and Michaelia Cash amongst them.
All right, on to story number 3. Household electricity prices are set to rise by more than, wait for it, 50% in some cases, as retailers advise of price rises far exceeding the ones in regulated benchmark tariffs announced last month.
Last week, AGL Energy advised customers of increases in peak and off-peak tariffs for power that will begin on July 1. While the average rise for AGL's household customers in New South Wales on variable rate market contracts is about 30%, some face as much as 51%, according to the Financial Review. Origin Energy also told customers last week of looming price increases, as has government-owned Red Energy, part of Snowy Hydro, for both electricity and gas. Energy Australia is expected to advise its customers in the next few days. Now, the jump in some cases exceeds or even doubles the rise of between 20 and 25% for regulated benchmark tariffs that were approved by the Australian Energy Regulator. Households will be paying a lot more.
Yeah, another hit to the budget there, Sean. Story number 4, COVID continues to transmit through the country. But how about this? The death toll last year was 4 times higher than during the first 2 years of the pandemic.
Almost 10,000 people died from COVID last year, according to the Bureau of Statistics. Now, deaths from COVID-19 this year remain high. There's been 1,314 fatalities between January and April, which is much more than horror flu seasons, for example. However, the rate of deaths has also slowed significantly compared to the same time last year. As of Friday, there were 70 Australians in intensive care with COVID-19, according to the Sydney Morning Herald. Deaths have been slowly on the rise from 124 in the week ending May 19 to 205 for the 7 days ending last Friday. Basically, the 7th wave of COVID is upon us and probably peaking about now. In the first 2 months of this year, the Actuaries Institute found there are about 1,500 more deaths than would have been expected if the pandemic hadn't happened.
Sean, story number 5. Working from home last year made the average worker less productive and more anxious, depressed and lonely, according to new academic research.
And a big part of the problem, Michael, was bad managers. Good managers could lessen the negative effects, according to the study by researchers from the Australian National University, University of Newcastle and Macquarie University. Broadly, the study found that people were less productive the more they worked from home. But once people were working from home for a while, the outcomes improved. So companies with more skilled managers and people that work from home for longer will have better results in terms of remote and hybrid working. Funny, Michael, I reckon that's pretty much how it works in the offices too. Better manager, better workers.
I think you might be right there, Sean. There we go, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Monday, the 19th of June, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. And that comes with a bunch of interviews and things. Today's is a great interview for investors. It is all basically about where the ultra wealthy are putting their money. It is worth a listen. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.